What's good, YouTube? UFC 263 has just wrapped up, and I'm going to start out with the last style bender. Izzy Adesanya defeats Marvin Vettori by unanimous decision. In my eyes, he won all 5 rounds, let's be honest. There wasn't a single round Marvin Vettori won. I thought the first round was close, the closest round of the fight, but I think you still give that to Izzy. Vettori didn't really do much on the ground, and Izzy, when he was on the feet, was just really piecing him up. And man, I noticed something very huge about Izzy. He sets everything up with leg kicks. Leg kicks are really the foundation for his striking. That's what I noticed. If you look at his fight against Jan Blachowicz was checking the leg kicks. By doing that, making Izzy hesitate on throwing leg kicks and, holding back on leg kicks, which allowed Jan Blachowicz to have more success on the feet. Because those leg kicks just completely disable you. They completely disable you. They ruin your mobility, even though Jan's not the best mover. They still hinder your mobility. It hinders your power. And just overall, they add up points, man, and they could really be effective. Not the first one, not the second one, but when you throw 35 that Izzy threw, that shit adds up. And Jan Blachowicz being able to check some kicks, like I said, it's the foundation of Izzy's offense. Because Izzy's so long, he could leg kick you and not worry about jack shit. Because he's so long, that leg kick, you're still not going to be in range to hit him in the face. So, and the fact that Jan was able to stifle that, I really think it hindered Izzy's offense and allowed Jan to win a lot of the striking exchanges. So I think that's something that maybe Robert Whittaker has to look at, because Robert Whittaker is the next opponent. There's no doubt about it, right? So that's something I think Robert Whittaker should look into. Either checking them or do what Marvin Vettori did in the first round. Catch him and take him down. But yeah, overall, just Izzy's such a good striker, man. He is so good. And he's so long for that middleweight division. He's just on the feet. He's a nightmare matchup for literally everybody. Literally everybody. He's a nightmare matchup. Now, Marvin Vettori, he was tough. He was durable. He had good defense, like always. He was, of course, like always, he was plodding, didn't really have great footwork. His head movement was actually better than I expected it to be, because Izzy wasn't landing a lot of clean shots on Marvin. Marvin either had good head movement or was getting his guard up. So got to give props to Marvin on that end. But he just had nothing for Izzy, and he couldn't keep Izzy on the ground. And it just led to... And I thought Marvin came in with a great game plan. He didn't come in just looking to grapple. He came in setting up the grappling with strikes. He was pressuring Izzy up against the cage, and then, threw a few strikes and then shot for the takedown. Or he'd throw a couple of strikes or feint at Izzy in the middle of the cage and then shoot for a takedown. But Izzy just had the really good defense for it. I think it's going to take someone who's technically better on the feet, though, as well as having the wrestling that Marvin did to beat Izzy. And I think that guy could be Robert Whittaker. If Robert Whittaker can take Izzy down the way Marvin did, as well as implement good striking, I think Robert Whittaker could 100% beat Izzy. It's going to be a tall task. Anyone in the middleweight division for probably the next 5 to 10 years, it's going to be a tough task to beat Izzy, unless he falls off a cliff, or something crazy happens, an injury, or he starts getting chin checked or something. It's going to be a tall task for any middleweight over the next 5 to 10 years to beat this dude. It's just the way it is. Izzy's really good. Izzy's really, really good. And yeah, I don't know if Marvin was still talking shit at the end of the fight, because Izzy said that Marvin thought he still won this fight, which is crazy. But yeah, I don't know how you think you won that fight. Dude, Rafael Cordero was telling him in the corner after every round, bro, you lost this round, you got to pick it up. You lost this round, you got to pick it up. You lost this round, you got to pick it up. You lost this round, you got 5 minutes to become a champ. You got 5 minutes to become the first Italian champ. And he just never did. Well, it's not that he never did. He actually was trying. It's just Izzy was too good for him. Izzy's the better fighter. It's as simple as that. It's as simple as that. And still, the assassin baby did it. Viva Mexico! Brandon Moreno is the new UFC flyweight championship. I called it. I knew Moreno had a really good chance of winning this fight if he came out with a grappling heavy or wrestling heavy approach. Now listen, he wasn't the one who actually initiated the wrestling and the grappling. It was Figueiredo. You want to know why? Because Brandon Moreno was piecing up Figueiredo on the feet. He was out striking him. He even dropped him with the jab. Just wow. Brandon Moreno is the best flyweight in the world, and honestly tonight it was not even competitive, and the excuses were immediately coming in. Oh, Figueiredo had a bad cut. Figueiredo looked bad on the scale. Figueiredo weighs in or walks around at 165 pounds. He always has a tough cut, whether it looks like it or not. When he walks around 165 pounds, he cuts about 25% of his body weight to get down to 125. Of course, his cuts are always going to be bad. He was killing people even with bad cuts. It's just the way it is. You got to give credit to the assassin baby. Brandon Moreno is the best flyweight in the world. He submitted Deiveson Figueiredo. People thought Figueiredo had a BJJ advantage. He did not. People thought he had a striking advantage. He did not. Brandon Moreno was better everywhere tonight. And just wow. Very, very impressive by Brandon Moreno. Nate Diaz is a motherfucking savage. Everyone thought, oh, Leon's supposed to outstrike Nate. Leon's supposed to outstrike Nate. Well, guess what? Who landed the most significant strike of the fight? Nate motherfucking Diaz. Holy shit. Now listen, Nate Diaz lost the fight clearly. Let's be honest. He had nothing for Leon in terms of the clinch, in terms of the grappling. On the feet, though, it was competitive, man. It was competitive. You know, when Uncle Chael said that Nate Diaz, you know, he's gonna box up Leon Edwards, I was like, the fuck is he talking about? Leon Edwards is so good on the feet. Man, Uncle Chael was onto something. He might know something. I don't know, man. I mean, he's only been a UFC fighter, but he's on to something. Because Nate Diaz was competitive on the feet. Now, listen, the first 4 rounds, he lost to striking as well. Leg kicks were adding up. Leon Edwards was landing big hooks. You know, Nate Diaz's movement, just in general, whether it's footwork or head movement, it's just not good at all. So, it's not surprising that Leon was able to land big shots. But it was not, like, easy. It was not just a shutout. Nate Diaz was landing some shots on Edwards too, and I was a little iffy on it because I was like, bro, Nate Diaz has no hands, but he was landing a few flush shots in the first few rounds. And then in that 5th round, I think I almost had a heart attack. You know, I'm a pretty big Leon Edwards fan. And so to see him get rocked the way he did by Nate Diaz, the man known as Pillow Hands, rocked him the way he did, oh my goodness. You know, if that was a harder puncher, if someone hit harder than that, like Kamaru Usman, Gilbert Burns lands a shot that flush, Leon isn't getting rocked. He's getting straight up put out. He's going to wake up not knowing what happened. I mean, that scared the shit out of me. And how about Nate Diaz? Nate Diaz, all the love, all the shit he gets for being a gangster, had one of the most low IQ moments I think I've seen in a fight. One of the most low IQ things I've seen in a fight. He rocked Leon Edwards bad. He rocked him horrendous. And he started to showboat on Leon. Dude, no, don't showboat on Leon. You lost the first 4 rounds. And you have this dude hurt bad. You go in for the kill. You go in for the kill. And the fact that Nate Diaz didn't do that, man. Instead, he showboated and, you know, tried to show that he's a gangster. Really showed low fight IQ. And listen, people love Nate Diaz for doing that shit, but guess what? People would have loved Nate Diaz even more if he would have knocked Leon out. Let's be honest. Let's be honest. I mean, wow, that should go on one of the lowlights, man. Because Leon, I don't think he knew where he was for 30 seconds after he got hit by that punch. He was just running on instinct. Like, dude, he was seeing stars out there. You could see it in his face. He was seeing stars. And you could see, I'll pull up a clip. Leon, literally, his eyes rolled in the back of his head. His head shook and bobbled. He looked like a bobblehead after that right hand landed. And he was on chicken legs, bro. He was on chicken legs. He didn't know where he was. I'm just flabbergasted that Nate Diaz didn't capitalize on that. I truly am. But good win for Leon Edwards. Showed heart, showed grit. But he's going to have to come in better than that if he wants to beat Kamaru. That's just the facts. Now, I do think he should hold, sit out. He's on a 10-fight unbeaten streak. Hold, sit out, wait for the title fight. Let Usman fight Colby or whoever he's fighting next. Wait and fight Usman at the end of the year. But yeah. Leon Edwards, Leon Edwards had a good performance, but Nate Diaz, man. I really think Nate Diaz blew that one. I really do. How about Paul Craig? Another first-round stoppage for him by TKO. Even though I think it technically could be considered a submission, it's going to go down as a TKO. But man, Jamal, what was Jamal Hill doing, man? What was Jamal Hill doing? I don't get it. I truly don't get it. Paul Craig is one of the best grapplers in the light heavyweight division. Plain and simple. And he was engaging with him on the ground. It was just a mistake. I thought Jamal Hill could have clearly backed up and let Paul Craig get up. But he didn't. He tried to engage in the ground. I think he was trying to prove a point. And guess what? By trying to prove a point, he got his arm dislocated and lost the fight. And that's another person's O that Paul Craig snatched. He snatched Nzechukwu O. He snatched Ankalaev's O. Now he snatched Jamal Hill's O. Paul Craig, he's pretty solid. His chin and his lack of striking defense probably won't bide well against the top 5, top 10 against the light heavyweight division, but he deserves to fight a top 5, top 10 guy next, let's be honest. He's on a pretty good win streak, defeated an undefeated prospect, one of the best grapplers in the division. Put him up against a top 10 guy. That's just my opinions. But yeah, again, another showcase of low fight IQ by a fighter. Jamal Hill could have easily created space, allowed Paul Craig to get back up, and have the fight take place where Jamal Hill has the advantage and has the best chance to win, which is on the feet. Shame, man. It's a shame. Low fight IQ, man. Fight IQ is truly one of the most underrated traits in the sport. People really need to, people really need to improve on the fight IQ aspect. Like I said, it was probably an ego thing. He wanted to prove a point, but in the fight game, you got to push ego to the side. You got to push these fans and shit to the side. Fans are booing you. You can't give a fuck about that. You can't. Your ego saying you want to beat this grappler on the ground, you got to push that shit to the side. Because honestly, when it comes down to it, fighting this cage fighting shit emulates life or death. It emulates life or death. So you really got to come in there and kill and not be killed, because the other person is trying to kill as well. And the final fight I'm going to cover tonight, Brad Riddell and Drew Dober have the fight of the night in what was a banger on the featured prelim on ESPN. These two threw down just like I expected. Dober rocked Riddell in the first round. Riddell was landing big shots in the second round, and in the third round, Riddell rocked Dober. And I was really hoping Riddell got the finish, because that's what I personally predicted. But ultimately ended up going to a decision. That was just a certified banger. It lived up to the hype. It was the fight of the night. It was the fight of the night. Man, those two, both those guys' stocks go up after that fight. Let's be honest, man. That was a crazy fun fight. Like I said in my prediction video, if you're just looking for two dudes who are going to stand up and bang, that's the fight for you. Now listen, there was wrestling. I expected no wrestling whatsoever. But these guys implemented wrestling. They started taking each other down, but nobody held the other down for a significant amount of time. So most of the fight did end up playing on the feet. And it was just back and forth, bomb after bomb. You know what I'm saying? Hitting each other and stunning each other time after time. But like I said in my prediction video, both dudes have power in both hands and both dudes have granite chins. And that was on show in that fight. It was super fun fight to watch. I would really encourage anybody who didn't watch that fight, please go watch that fight. It was awesome. It was amazing. And if we're going on that's the fight of the night. The performance of the night, I think, should go to Brandon Moreno, as it should. because of course it should, and it should go to Paul Craig, because that arm bar was fucking disgusting. So yeah, I think those two should get performance of the night, and Dober versus Riddell should get fight of the night, and give Lauren Murphy a title shot, bro. She's on a 5-fight win streak, I believe. She's clearly the next contender for Valentina. She's gonna get murked. But give her the shot. Give her the opportunity. Give her the chance. You never know. It's sports. And she's the rightful next contender for Valentina. Unless Valentina's going to fight Nunes next, it should be Valentina versus Lauren Murphy. Period. End of story. And I'm not even a big fan of Lauren Murphy. I don't really like Lauren Murphy, if I'm going to be honest with you. But she deserves the title shot. She deserves it. But yeah, that's all I got for you guys. Stay tuned, because tomorrow or in a couple days, I'm going to be uploading what should be next for the fighters on this card. And yeah, that's all I got for you guys. Follow me on Twitter at JustADudeMMA. I was posting all night. Well, not all night. I shouldn't say all night. But I was posting during the important fights, Diaz versus Edwards, Moreno versus Figueiredo, Izzy versus Vettori. I was posting during those fights. So yeah, follow me on Twitter at JustADudeMMA. And yeah, like, subscribe, comment down below. I'll respond as soon as I possible. I can't fucking speak. As soon as possible. And yeah, hope you all enjoyed. I'm gone.